A pleasant good morning to residents of St. Lucia and St. Lucians living abroad following the island's national COVID-19 response. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am Jessie Leonce reporting live from the studios of the Government Information Service. I'm joined in studio by Carlton Coates Cyril. Good morning, Mr. Cyril.
Good morning. Bonjour, bonjour. Merci pour l'invitation.
Yes, and Mr. Cyril will be providing the information to the general public, two persons following our live in Creole today. Just to read a notice coming out from the Ministry of Education, Innovation and Gender Relations yesterday. The Department of Education, Innovation and Gender Relations wishes to share the following decisions and updates on the local and regional examinations, minimum standard tests, common entrance examination, Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate, and Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Education. Minimum standard tests, grades 2 and 4. These examinations have been cancelled for the year 2020. The school-based assessments, SBAs, prepared by the students will be moderated during the first term of the new academic year 2020-2021 and reports forwarded to the schools. In terms of common entrance examinations, this examination will be administered after the Ministry of Health and Wellness deems it safe to do so. Sufficient time will be allowed after that pronouncement to afford students and teachers time to prepare academically and psychologically for the examination. The format of the 2020 exam will comprise solely the multiple choice components, Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate, that is CSEC, and the Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Examination, CAPE. Discussions are still ongoing with the Caribbean Examinations Council, CXC. Information will be provided when decisions are finalized. A follow-up statement will be made when timelines become more definite. So that's a statement there coming from the Ministry of Education on the minimum standards tests, grade 2 and 4, common entrance examinations, Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate, and Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Examination. We have quite a lot in store for you this morning, including a sit-down with the NEMO Program Development Officer, Mr. Andrew George. We also have via Zoom this morning Dr. Carleen Radix. She is the Head of Health and Acting Head of the Social Development Cluster at the OECS. I think due to the scheduling, we will have to proceed with Dr. Radix this morning via the Zoom platform. Producers in the control room, are we ready for the Zoom interview? Two minutes, okay. That is coming up in just a moment. It's very critical that we get an understanding of the regional picture of how COVID-19 is unfolding and the heads of government's response to COVID-19 itself. I want to start with the person we have in studio, since the Zoom interview is not yet ready. They're ready. Good morning, Dr. Carleen Radix. Hi, good morning, Dr. Carleen Radix. We seem to be having a bit of technical difficulties. If you could hear me, just do a thumbs up. She can hear me?
Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Can you hear me?
Hi, good morning, Dr. Radix. All is well? To our viewers, our listeners, please bear with us. We're trying to organize a Zoom interview with Dr. Carleen Radix, the Head of Health and Acting Head of the Social Development Cluster for the OECS. Good morning, Dr. Radix. Okay, we lost that feed. We will just proceed with the interview. In the meantime, that we have in studio, we were made to understand that due to her scheduling, we had to do this interview, and we want to do this interview. So hopefully the technicians can settle that matter as soon as possible. In studio, I'm joined by, in addition to Mr. Carlton Coke-Cyril, Mr. Andrew George, the Program Development Officer from the National Emergency Management Organization. Good morning and welcome, Mr. George.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to share some of what has been happening at the national level, and I'm certainly looking forward to what Dr. Radix has to say at the regional level, because they both at the regional and the national level, a lot has been happening to deal with this this threat to the countries of the Caribbean, and especially with the movement of persons between islands. It's an opportunity for us again, and it's a good litmus test for our response capability as a region and a country. So we'll do this at both the regional and national level. So thank you for having us, and good morning to all the viewers, listeners in St. Lucia and around the world.
Absolutely. I can imagine it's a very hectic time for the staff, volunteers at NEMO right now. Just give us an illustration, a picture of what is happening on the ground at NEMO in BZ.
Well, it's a hype of activity, as you could well imagine, because at this stage now we are in activation and in response mode. So we have all our volunteers that are coming through to assist in putting the care packages together to assist the persons who might have been impacted in some way by this pandemic, COVID-19. And we are working with the cadets. We have the Youth Emergency Action Committee, which is a youth volunteer group. We also have volunteers from the National Volunteers. National Volunteers of St. Lucia are also there with us. We have quite a number of persons who have volunteered the time to come in to make sure that we can package those packages, those care packages for persons. We also have a lot of persons who are donating stuff. We have farmers who are donating some of their produce that they're not able to sell. We have some of the bakeries doing the same. We have a number of institutions who have come on board. I'm leaving that to the other persons to acknowledge them properly and to acknowledge everybody who have or playing some part in this. But at the national level, what we try to do as NEMO and at the NEMO Secretariat, because NEMO is a system made up of a number of agencies who all come together to in response to an actual event. So at the Secretariat, which provides the headquarters for that system, we have brought all the volunteers together to bring everything together so that at the end of the day, persons will be given the packages by our community volunteers. But before it reaches that stage, there are a number of pieces that have to be put in together, a number of things that have to happen so that we, at this level, we coordinate to make sure everything is done properly, and we're able to send out the packages for person. At NEMO, of course, our principle when we deliver in relief is always based on humanity, impartiality, and neutrality. So we always have to make sure that persons who are receiving those packages are persons who have been impacted by it, and it's not based on any affiliation, religious, political, or otherwise. So everybody will be receiving the packages based on their need.
Okay. Can you just walk us through the process? The Prime Minister makes the announcement, a national shutdown essential to curbing the transmission, the local transmission of COVID-19. How does NEMO now shift into gear to follow the protocols as outlined by the Prime Minister in terms of the relief packages?
Well, we once the COVID-19 became a pandemic of international concern as declared by the World Health Organization, we kicked into gear, and of course we have been, our system has been activated, and so we've been on standby for all of this. The reason, of course, we've got to this stage is that I believe that a lot of people in St. Lucia have not really grasped the gravity of what is facing us. And so we are we were not doing what has proven to work. The whole issue of the social distancing, washing your hands, and taking care of yourself. So that was not being done, and that was not being practiced well enough. So I think it's measures have to be taken to encourage persons to adhere to those. And I don't believe that anybody will want to think that the measures have been done because anybody would want to keep people at home. It's not a matter of keeping you at home. It's not a matter of trying to disrupt the economic activity. It's about taking measures to protect persons and to ensure that the social distancing that has worked actually works for St. Lucia, and to provide for an environment where we can arrest the spread of this virus within the community. And this is what we've been aiming for, and we've been trying hard to achieve, was to stop the community spread of the COVID-19. It has arrived here and it's on our shores, and so we have to take other measures to ensure that persons adhere to strictly. So that's why the curfew was moved initially from 11 to 5, then it was extended to 8 to 5. But again, that still had a lot of people out and about, and that still had people congregating, and that still had people not adhering to it. So this is why the Emergency Powers Act was evoked, to give the Prime Minister, to give him the freedom to be able to amend some of the laws, so we can have some more stricter measures to ensure. And I don't think of course we are doing it as a whole, upon the advice of the medical personnel, the advice of the regional level, the WHO, the CDC. Those are the persons who are giving the advice that this is necessary, and this is the only way that you could get a handle on this.
Let's just stick a pin in that. We have Dr. Radix on the line, back on the Zoom feed. Good morning, Dr. Radix. Good morning, Dr. Radix. Dr. Radix.
Good morning.
Dr. Radix.
Getting some feedback.
Dr. Radix. Getting some feedback. Dr. Carleen Radix, the Head of Health and Acting Head of the Social Development Cluster from the OECS. Dr. Radix, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I imagine you have a very tight schedule, so thank you so much. I just want to go over the points that we want covered to give the St. Lucian public a greater understanding of not just the local, but the regional effort at containing the spread of this virus. Can you give us an understanding of the Ministries of Health and cabinet decisions are across the board?
Good morning. I know I'm proposing maybe you put the question. So that your mic,
Okay, we seem to be having some technical difficulties with that. Perhaps we schedule this very important interview in a subsequent broadcast, because we don't seem to be getting that feed right. Dr. Carleen Radix, Head of Health and Acting Head of the Social Development Cluster of the OECS. Very important interview. I hope that we do get an opportunity to speak on a very clear platform soon. Mr. George, back to the operations at NEMO. Can you just talk to us about the distribution? I understand that the relief packages are being prepared. First of all, what is the projection? How many relief packages are you looking to prepare? What is the volume that you've received from 311 hotline so far? And give us an update on distribution. The
distribution have started. The packages have been put together. The target amount is about 5,000. So put together. We are hoping that we can put those 5,000 packages together to be able to now then distribute. The distribution will be through the district disaster committees on the ground, also our partner Red Cross. So those persons will, so the plan is of course to get to the vulnerable first, persons who are normally not able to take care of themselves in good times. So in those times we are now encouraging persons to stay inside. So we are now going to be offering them some assistance to again to soften and to take out the need for them to leave their homes to go and look for those packages and to look for things. So we are bringing it to them. The distribution will be done at the community level, so that persons within the communities will be the ones. So that's why we're asking people, if you feel that you are in need, you can call 311, leave your name and number, and so that the community members will receive that information, and they will then get back to you. To get back to the genesis of it, of course, is that as soon as we as soon as we understand that with the need for putting the packages together, the packages are then put together based on what is considered the basic package of what persons need to survive. It will be things to survive for 3 days. It's certainly not the end all be all, because it's not that they can give you a package that will last you forever. It is something to soften the time once we are able to encourage you to stay inside. So we're now going to give you this package to help you to be able to eat and to make sure that there is the nutrition and the survival and the sustenance that you need to take you through.
What are the numbers that we're looking at in terms of the volume of packages to send out?
We're going to make 5,000 packages to be distributed around the country. In 17 constituencies to be distributed. And now, as we still getting the cause, so then the numbers in each constituency has not been finalized yet. So we're getting calls from Grosley to Viewfort and Soufriere to Dennery in the east. So once we get all those numbers, they also, at the constituency level and the community level, the district disaster committees are also compiling the list of persons that they already know who are in the communities who already they know that are vulnerable, because we do have those lists from the Ministry of Equity, those persons who are already on the government assistance list. So those are people already who are generally government have been assisting them to ensure that they have the substance. So now we also look at persons who are elderly, persons who are disabled, so persons who are living with disabilities. So those are persons who would normally already be vulnerable. So we are making sure that we reach those first, and the persons who now, because places are closed, are not able to go out and get. We get calls from people who said, yes, I do have the money, I can go out and buy, but I can't leave my home. So yes, so we will assist those kind of persons, because yes, you are able to take care of yourself normally, but a package will be delivered to you, because at this stage you are not able to go out and fend for yourself. So the government will take care of those. So we'll take care of those who normally take care of the elderly,
indigent,
the vulnerable. So those persons will again be assisted. And so even if you are not considered in that group, and you are needy and you have nothing now, we will still try to assist you as best as we can. But the numbers are limited, obviously, so we have to ensure that we do reach the people who are now most at risk, and so these are the persons we will be catering for initially.
What stage is NEMO at in terms of distribution?
The distribution has started. It started from yesterday. So we are going to be distributing today. So the vehicles are leaving the NEMO compound daily by the hour to go out in the various communities to deliver as we get the names and the numbers. We are hoping that we can get all those packages out, the initial 5,000 out today. So I know a number of persons have been calling and said they were told that we will get in the package and they have not received it yet. We're just asking people to bear patience. It's a logistics issue that we're trying to get. We have to get the number of trucks, we have to get the number of distribution points. So we are making sure you don't have to leave your home to go to any place to pick it up. So we're trying to get to you so that you have to. So we don't want you to leave your home saying that you have to go to a distribution point to pick up a package. You have to remain home and it will be delivered to you. So that is why it's taking a bit longer than normal. So we're just asking sort of persons to bear with us. The packages will be coming, your package will be coming, and you will receive it in time, but it's just an issue of logistics, because again, we don't want to have 500 trucks going around the country distributing relief. It's going to take, again, because we'll need more manpower. You need more people on the streets. So that will just compromise and compound all the issues. So we are trying to make sure we have a limited number of persons out distributing, again, to enforce the social distancing issues.
Okay. We just want to go to Dr. Radix. I believe we've finally been able to get through to her. Good morning, Dr. Radix.
Hello, good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you this morning?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. I was just noting earlier that it is equally important to get an understanding of what is happening in the region as well as on the ground in the country. To the viewers who are just joining us, Dr. Carleen Radix on the phone right now, Head of Health and Acting Head of the Social Development Cluster at the OECS. Dr. Radix, not to keep you too long, but can you give us an understanding of the COVID-19 status in our member states of OECS, the Ministries of Health, cabinet decisions, etc.?
Okay, well, I'm not going to get very specific, but to say that we are all facing this crisis together. What is happening here in St. Lucia mirrors what is happening in our countries across the chain of Eastern Caribbean islands. The introduction of cases may be slightly off, the way the numbers are moving may be a little bit different, but we are all, as a region, dealing with this COVID-19 crisis. And to say that the measures being taken across the member states include the measures to limit the spread of the disease. And that includes restrictions on travel, restrictions within member states on how people move, because the virus can't move without us. So what we do, how we behave, all countries are putting in place the measures to keep their population safe.
And the extent of the strategy and protocol sharing among the member states, how has that been going in terms of OECS being the monitoring head over that?
Yeah, so the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States is a community, one community growing together. And it really shows in this crisis. We have groups across the OECS Commission across the various sectors, and all of them have been very active in discussing the response. So, for example, the heads of authority at the highest level, the leaders of our member states have been discussing things together. Our ministers of health have been in touch together. Our ministers of education are in touch. Our ministers of trade, agriculture, and these major sectors that have to respond to this crisis. Many of those groups have, before this crisis, connected via WhatsApp groups. Those groups are active, and so in real time, the OECS community is able to think together and to respond appropriately.
Talk to us about the role of the OECS in the regional COVID-19 response. I understand part of that is facilitating the pooled procurement of medications and supplies through the OECS Pharmaceutical Procurement Service.
Absolutely. This response means that we have increased what we already do for our member states. So you may already know that our Pharmaceutical Procurement Service is a pooled procurement service that's been in existence for over 35 years at the Commission, which allows our small member states to benefit from economies of scale in terms of putting together ordering in bulk essential medicines and medical supplies for our hospitals and health centers across the region. So in this time of crisis, the PPS, as we call it, the Pharmaceutical Procurement Service, has heightened its response and its support for member states. Health systems across the region are overwhelmed. We need to, and we have been facilitating and making sure that countries keep up with their regular orders so that they continue to have supplies of medications for persons with chronic diseases, persons with HIV, the general supplies they need for the general things that won't stop happening in the health system. And in addition, we have ramped up trying to fill the gaps that countries have with regards to their COVID-19 response. And let me say that that has been a collaborative effort. I want to take a moment to stop and acknowledge the frontline workers in our communities, in our OECS community, across all of our member states, and that's from initially our port workers when the borders were open, to the workers who are out there in essential services, our health workers, all persons working in our health areas, our emergency response workers. These people are really doing a brilliant job out there in our community.
Tell us about the response of the private sector in the region. I understand that Sagicor was one of the organizations that made a donation toward the region's response toward COVID-19.
Absolutely. The response from our community within the OECS has been phenomenal, both from the private sector and our developmental partners with which we work. So if I speak to the private sector, Sagicor, and again, being an organization that works across the region, has made donations towards the purchase of infrared thermometers, some of which have already been distributed to member states, as well as to lab testing supplies. And they have also contributed to the work being done in the education sector around helping children to continue their education remotely in this time and this crisis. So they have been an excellent partner with us. We've also had excellent contributions from Massey Stores around ventilators, and so I must also recognize them, as well as from the banking community, including Republic Bank. And I'm sure I'm leaving some out, but just to say that the private sector within St. Lucia and within the region have been phenomenal in their response and their willingness to respond to contribute to the regional effort to fight the crisis. I also want to recognize development partners and international NGOs. Direct Relief very early on sent donations of personal protective equipment, masks, coveralls, etc., that have been distributed across the member states. Projects that we've been doing with UNICEF, USAID, the Global Fund for HIV/TB, have all redirected funds as appropriate in their programs towards the fight for COVID-19.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Carleen Radix, Head of Health and Acting Head of the Social Development Cluster at the OECS. Any final words?
Just to say that the OECS community is working to ensure that we're ready, that we respond now and we build resilience for the future, and just telling everyone at home to stay safe, and we will get through this.
Thank you. You stay safe as well as you go about the business of the region's welfare. Thank you so much. Dr. Carleen Radix there from the OECS. She's the Head of Health and Acting Head of the Social Development Cluster. I really do appreciate that information there, getting not just an understanding of what is happening locally, which is what we've been providing you with for the last couple of days, but also what is happening at the regional level. We do encourage you to also research, the Google search engine, research, find out what's happening, not only in our neck of the woods, but the wider world. It's always important to have greater context, and it dawns on you the gravity of the situation that we are in, right, Mr. George? Yes, the gravity of the situation that we're in terms of dealing with this COVID-19 situation. Mr. George, in the fight for COVID-19, NEMO has just been branded as the organization for providing food and supplies. Before we get back to that, I just want to get some insight into the other work that is being done as an emergency response organization.
Yes, thank you. Our role is a lot broader than that, obviously, and I think it's accepted. I think in the interim and the immediacy is that people see that as what they need most is just a care package, and they. But the organization, as I said, as Dr. Radix said, we work with at the regional level through CDEMA, which is the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, which coordinates what happens at the regional level. And as you said, we all try to be in step with one another and to try to see how best we can all do this together. And so at the regional level, CDEMA is ensuring that all the disaster offices in the region are of the same level and the same capacity. So what we try to do on a daily basis is to try to make, I mean, as our mandate says, is to have St. Lucia as ready as possible to face any disaster, whether it's man-made, natural, or otherwise. And what we try to do is, through our work, we work with the business sector. Through the Chamber of Commerce, we've done a lot of work with preparing the business sector for something like that, where we've done a lot of training in business continuity and how do your businesses continue after a pandemic. So along with the Chamber of Commerce, we recently held a training just a couple of weeks ago in View Fort for the businesses in the South to look at their business continuity plans, those who did not have, to help them to develop some. And so what we're telling persons now is the time, of course, to look at your business continuity plans, dust it off, because some of them are saving it for the hurricane season for some reason or the other. But now is the time to bring it out. Now is the time to look at it again. Now is the time to revise it, to refresh it, and to make sure that it is workable for you. Include your response to a pandemic if you don't have it. Last year when we did our training, one of the things that came up was the issue of cybersecurity, which we had not, as an office, we were looking at. And I decided, okay, this is something that is of concern to the business sector. So let's include that as part of our resilience building of the business sector. So this year we now have to include a pandemic and what is it that the businesses have to do to ready themselves. Now, particularly when your business is now facing shortage of staff, your staff are either homesick or home taking care of sick persons. Because even if the government decides that they will reopen the country and reopen business, COVID-19 is new. We don't know how long it's going to be around. We don't know whether it's going to resurface in another form. We don't know if it's going to mutate and come back again. So we have to use this response to ensure that we can be prepared for everything and to prepare for the next one. We also have to look at the whole issue of the continuity of government. What are some of the government functions that must continue? There is a great need of persons, particularly the citizens of country, they need government services a lot post an event. So right now in the middle of this pandemic, you see the amount of persons calling 311 requiring government assistance, requiring government help. If government has to provide that assistance, government departments have to be able to function both during and after the emergency. So we have to ensure that there is continuity of government. And at the national level, the issue is we have to view this as a whole of government, whole of society approach. We have to ensure that every citizen is as knowledgeable and as ready as possible. We liken this thing to fighting a war. And in war, we say nobody is to be left behind. Everybody has to be given the tools to be able to fight this war. But particularly, as Dr. Radix said, the frontline workers, we must strengthen our frontline. And a war is won in the front line. You have to give the frontline the resources they need to be able to deal with this. And so the Prime Minister has given the police the equipment, the resources they need, and also the legislative agenda, which is the Emergency Powers Act, so able to ensure that they have the resources they need. They are now ordering more ventilators to ensure that there are more ventilators available to the health sector so that if persons are needed, it's there. So we have the resources are coming to ensure that this fight is won and this war is won. We are going to win it, but we have to do it together. There will be some sacrifices that have to be made. There'll be some inconveniences that we'll have to suffer. It will not be the same as always. And this new normal is that things will not be as it used to be. I know people are talking about, of course, postponing of some mass events. but this is for the greater good. I mean, we have to postpone, well, cancel jazz for this year, postpone Carnival to next year. A lot of events are things that have to, so the inconveniences are there. People have to understand this is for the greater good. This is for us to win this. And the only way we can win it is together, where we all have to make the sacrifices to win this.
COVID-19, well, a virus, pandemic in this case, presents quite a unique dynamic in the sense that, unprecedented in some instances, that NEMO has of late had to respond to hurricanes, disasters of that nature. Can you speak to, sort of the dusting off of books and protocols to deal with this sort of pandemic in the region, in the country? Yes,
of course, we have had our the national influenza plan has been around for a while. We've also had other pandemics in the past, which has given us some measure of what to expect. We had SARS, there was MERS, there was also H1N1, which of course was not as protracted as COVID-19, but those brushes with those other pandemics gave us an opportunity to put the plans in place and put the policies and the procedures in place. So that's what we are using now. So all those are there. The former director, Ms. French, during that time did a very good job of putting all those plans and documenting all those plans. So all those things are there. So we can now just go back and look at it and just, of course you have to update it, revise it, and make it more convenient to what is happening now. But we are not starting from scratch, fortunately. So we are now we are better able to deal with this because we're not starting from scratch. So we are able to now look at what happened before, look at how we dealt with it, look at some of the lessons, and particularly look at some of the lessons at both the regional and the international level. What are some of the other countries doing? What are they doing right? What are they doing wrong? What is it that they have not done and that other countries are doing? And the countries that are winning this, what are they doing to win this? And what we can adapt into St. Lucia to be able to win this? We are certainly not in this alone. This is a pandemic of international concern. So there are countries who are doing a very good job of it. There are countries that are not doing such a great job. And obviously we want to learn from those who are doing a good job and to style our response to ensure that we do a good job. Because we have to contain this. If it doesn't, the mortality and the death toll is going to be more problematic. And this is why we have now, as part of our response, we've also activated our stress management team to provide some psychosocial support to both the frontline workers and also persons impacted by this. So those persons will be going out in the community to talk to persons and understand what they're going through, because I think people are literally at home watching TV and watching their family. Some people are dying for the day where that the country will open up again so they can get out of the house, even if it's just to get away from the family. But it's a time to reconnect. It's time to really do things differently. But as we said, the country is enclosed in shutdown, but a lot of things are not. We have not stopped you from having people know what is happening, so that we can do things differently. You could read books, you could get back into doing things, but spend your time wisely. Spend the time wisely with your family, get to know people better. I think we just need to understand that the national system is working, and it's working for the betterment of everybody, to ensure that at the end of the day, this virus is defeated, or at least we can now have a proper understanding of what we're dealing with.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Andrew George, Program Development Officer from the NEMO. Thank you for your time. We're running out of time in this segment, so we now want to move over to Mr. Carlton Cyril, better known as Cokes, who will summarize this segment for the persons who prefer listening in Creole.
Bon, moi, merci, Jesse. Bonjour pour M. Andrew. Quand j'ai bien entendu, monsieur, ici à GIS, ici, il y a une information qui a sorti du gouvernement. Et pour vous qui ne peut pas ça suivre en anglais, comprendre tout bagaille. Nous, on est mettre dans un parasol, un parasol parce que on chay discuter ici. So, moi-même, quand j'ai essayé, par déterminer Jesse et puis moi avec monsieur Andrew, hot NEMO, moi, quand j'ai essayé de mener tout bagaille dans yon pour comprendre ça y est. Premier part, vous savez, là, un annoncement qui a sorti hot département éducation. Et moi, ça va chaque monde concerné, là, il est venu pour ça. Là, il est venu pour examination, c'est ma là. Et bien là, information qui a sorti hot département éducation et puis innovation pour gender relations. Yo vlo savent that là, il est venu pour un minimum standard, ça c'est MST. Là, il est venu pour Common Entrance, CEE. Là, il est venu pour Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate, ça c'est CSEC. Et puis, KEP, qui c'est Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Education. Yo vle do, là, il est venu pour ça, mais c'est décision qui j'apprends pas par ministre éducation. Là, il est venu pour minimum standard, ça c'est pour grade D et puis 4. Et bien bon, ministère a voulu savent, yo ja cancellé examination pour l'année 2020. Encore, ça c'est pour minimum standard, grade D et puis 4. Yo ja cancellé. Mais yo voulu savent, là il venu pour ça yo kouye SBA, qui c'est maman ja fait que yo préparé yo kay yo kay travailler sur et puis là qu'a commencé en l'année 2021 yo kay penser rapport ça en considération et yo kay voyer ba c'est différents l'école là quand là vini pour minimum standard yo ka do ça yo cancellé pour l'année 2020 mais travail c'est maman là déjà fait qui yo ka crier SBA yo ka prendre en considération en l'autre l'année avec tous ces rapports ça yo ka voyer ba l'école là là il vini pour common entrance yo vle do that qui examination common entrance yo ka ba en rapport sur ça après NEMO et puis gouvernement j'ai dit tout bagaille OK, tout bagay bon pour aller, yo kay fait un annoncement en laissa et puis là il vini pour ces teacher et puis ministère yo kay do ça qui a fait là il vini pour common entrance. Et puis yon nan se bagay là yo vlo savoir aussi là il vini pour common entrance yo kay do manière kay point quoi c'est ça yo kouye multiple choice. Multiple choice, c'est qu'on a fait pour l'année 2020. Encore, ça c'est pour Common Entrance. Là, il vient pour CSEC, qui c'est Caribbean Secondary Education, c'est certificat ça. Yo vlo savent that qui yo ka fait décision yo toujours discussion ka aller et puis yo ka fait décision yo ni pour faire décision ça comme ça c'est yon ka fait rond kawaii blanc et puis en statement ka fait et puis ça yo ka fait tout le monde savent qui ça qui ka aller là il vient pour ces examinations ça encore temps mademoiselle Léonce Jessie Léonce parler by docteur Colin Radix et puis là au cas ça c'est ici pas goumen et ben ka combattre les affaires féminines COVID-19 n'a pas koyo quand la OECS là yo aussi involvé ou savent nous ka tomber en bas Paris Solza qui veut dire place conservation Dominique c'est place ça aussi la Grenade et puis là Jessie et Madei en chay question il te voulait savoir qui manière bagay ka fait là il vient pour ces pays OECS là encore qu'ils savent nous quand tomber en bas Paris sol ça comme on dit et quand parmi bagay mademoiselle Jessie Léonce m'a dit c'est qui manière bagay et qui dit même quand toutes les autres pays c'est différents têtes gouvernement c'est premier ministre là a prendre décision qu'on nous tous déjà savent qui là pour aider peuple là décision qu'on était dedans décision qu'on en 24 heures de temps yo fermer pays pour empêcher vermin pour monde transmettre vermin et puis mettre bagay en place pour peuple ces pays ça quand il dit ces bagay ça après coup il dit là il vient pour secteur privé à qui ça yo déjà fait et puis là docteur mentionné, il dit, un chaïmoun javini, Mazé Léonce mentionné Sadjiko. Il dit Sadjiko parmi ces secteurs privés qui ja donné, qui ja bail, assisté. Il dit, c'est pas Sadjiko tout seul, il l'emmène Massi, il l'emmène c'est Banklan. Il dit, là, il vient pour secteur ça, un chai moun, un secteur privé à Javini. Il y a aussi l'homme moun qui involvé l'autre pays, qui a assisté ces pays, et qui n'a pas fait ça pour pièce l'argent, mais il y a ensemble comme organisation, et qui yo même, j'ai aussi aider situation là vini pour OECS là yo j'avoue masse yo j'avoue overall yo ja aider là vini pour WIMED question demandée par Mademoiselle Léonce là vini pour WIMED qui manière ba la qui dit yon a c'est ba la docteur Charlene Radix dit c'est pour 35 l'année OECS là yo j'en bagay en place là vini pour WIMED manière yo ka gagner WIMED et puis yo ka gagner WIMED là dans yon go ensemble yo tout est distribué quand les yo gagne comme ça tout oui mettre là bas yo parisol ça veut dire yo ka gagner en dans primaire prix quoi yo nan c'est pas là qui javine ça et nous ka trouver qu'on nous ka bénéfice en dedans c'est là venu pour manière oui med ka trouver qu'on gagne et puis distribuer quoi il était bien content pour dire il a dit merci pour ces gens qui devant ka combattre 20 000 il dit nous n'y pour apprécier puis ça docteur Nos ces gens qui a volonté tant yo pour combattre 20 000 il a dit c'est faut nous tirer chapeau ba yo dit merci ba ces moun ça et qui a avoué tout le monde te ka été sauve la caillou parmi l'autre discussion et puis ça moi même te ka vle monsieur Andrew George c'est lui qui a représenté NEMO ici et vous avez ça monsieur Andrew il touchant là chaque sujet ici quand monsieur George Mackay veut répéter tout bagay but parmi ces bagay là qui bien important moi ka quoi là vini pour NEMO qui ça NEMO ka fait moi bien ton ou parler avec là parler ou dit déjà hot ka essayer arriver 5000 manger là vini pour manger pour préparer ces bagues ça pour distribuer moi aussi tant nous dit hot pas travailler pas cause autres hot ka travailler puis communauté puis gouvernement local là c'est gens qui en communauté pour autres c'est moun ça jani en chai c'est non c'est moun nan et c'est moun nan qui ou ka dit infime qui peut pas ça il doit pour joindre ça yo ka c'est nécessité quoi hot ka mettre ces petits package ensemble bayo quoi si ou ça en dantimo parole en créole là fait nous comprendre exactement qui ça NEMO ka fait by Jean Setlissi à présent.
Ouais, Cox we can just dire by
oui.
Créole moi pas j'aime.
Oui, nous ka ça comprendre moi ka ça do au priya.
C'est petit paquet là nous ka mettre by ces monde là c'est pour by your type by soulagement pour à présent. Pas ka ni c'est pour tout le temps mais quand by your soulagement pour à présent because nous veut assurer du monde pour wait dedans. So si nous ka dire wait dedans nous ka porter by yo. Mais moi je voulais juste dire aussi pour monde c'est bail là qui a fait là chaque monde qui a parlé qui a dit c'est monde c'est yourself monde qui a joindre ça pas vrai c'est monde des pour vle à bagaille pour ni pour bail là ou qui joindre ça pas about UWSLP ça pas about
rien pour faire politique
ça pas rien pour faire ces bail ça là ça pas rien.
OK quand si un monde vle qui manière on va faire ça?
Ouais, depuis vous voulez quoi on need pour créer 311. Also créer office no 4523802.
OK.
So nous kay point nom et nous kay buy now pour ces mon community qui a distribuer package là. So depuis nous là nous kay mais vous juste need mon pas créer aujourd'hui ou expect
que
la province. Oui. Nous ça porter aujourd'hui mais nous ka jeune monde qui yon éditeur yo ka yo pas connaître monde là nous pas jeune rien. Oui. So il pas travailler comme ça. Donc vous mettez package là ensemble et vous porter ba. So ben notre temps ni anti patience bagay la kay vini.
Là il vini pour ban nous anti portrait et ben ban nous expliquer ban nous qui manière bagay la ka travail. Là il vini pour c'est ti package ça hot ka mettre ensemble bay c'est moun nan. Ban nous anti portrait qui manière ou ka faire ça. Nous savons office ou l'ambisé hot ka mettre ensemble qui manière parce que vous avez dit moun ni pour être en dedans. Est-ce que NEMO connaît côté tout le monde a été et que moun NEMO ka travail qui manière hot même ka fait bagay la marcher c'est qui manière hot ka coordonner.
Okay. Well, bon question. Because c'est ça nous voulons. Donc c'est mon community so district disaster committee a community yo ni c'est non c'est mon qui a besoin.
Oui.
So because c'est mon ça là you are toujours ni moun qui a besoin bail. So là
oui.
so
yo jani c'est non ça.
Et c'est local government là, c'est constituency council là, again nous ka jeune c'est non from c'est mon ça also. Nous ka jeune c'est non from the Ministry of Equity. So tout ces moun ça là ka buy no some Red Cross. So c'est mon ça you are by avant you can still support
you hani
you hani c'est non ça c'est parce que c'est moun ça là qui toujours vle bay so c'est moun là qui tout cas nous travaille c'est the council pour person with disabilities so you can buy non c'est moun ça là also so we no a shy much
so ka coordonner comme ça
right
l'autre bagay là moi vle demander a pas dit ou ka dit concite la même communauté ou ka dit moun qui infime qui pas ni opportunité ça hot ka coordonner puis c'est moun ça. Et puis, les gens qui à présent, les gens qui 3 unions, limo ça, et bien les gens qui office, ça même, on a pris en considération aussi?
Oui, parce que des beaucoup qui au besoin bail, nous avons pronom, nous avons bail ce nom ça là pour ces gens communautaires, et puis nous avons kuyo, et puis nous avons porté package là-bas. Des fois, nous avons kuyo, et puis nous dit nous, nous besoin bail, nous avons porté bail.
Ok, l'autre bagaille là c'est est-ce que c'est commune ça c'est concite là et puis ces gens qui a représenté ces différentes communes est-ce que moun ça couyer yo?
Non, nous pas moun couyer de moun directly because nous pour record tout bail.
Oui.
So laissez mon couiller office nous cap pour recordably so nous savent nous bail ça là a package. Et tout le monde qui money yo kay joindre. So nous savent qui monde qui money qui constitue aussi ou sorti so nous kay porter ba. C'est ça c'est record nous pour nous savent les tout bail la fini so nous ça I check qui monde qui joindre so nous savent nous bail ces monde là qui te vle.
OK, ça c'était pour les moun qui a crié 3 unions et puis moun qui a crié office et puis manière manger à distribuer. Là il vient pour nous ja observer que nous attend constant à sur radio nous attend Jean Media qui a dit constant on a fait passe hod NEMO et puis tout le monde veut passe et puis jodi si moi comprendre ça nous a dit bien la kaini yon do 3 moun a souchimé parce que hier yo doit un petit soulagement monter yo te bay mon chance pour aller en boutique gain petit bagay ou peut-être kay brisé et vous savez manière ça passer quoi nous ka dit jodi tout partout fermé quoi qui cette monde qui kan les chimères et puis moi vle toucher à sous passe la manière passe la robe web tout monde ou quoi qui brisé en passe et puis manière où ça joignent.
So c'est pas là nous ka bail c'est pour essential service tout seul.
Oui.
Et ce monde qui distribuer manger. So mass stores c'est mon ça là. You kindly I restock ces supermarket là, ces community mart là because chaque monde t'es allé gain bail hier so nous expect toute place la vide so nous expect ces monde ça là aller mais nous avons passes pour monde ko essential service slash sport c'est monde ça so doc là quand pour travailler c'est bateau quand c'est bateau on pour travailler parce que nous still ne pour joindre bagaille pour replenir ça nous
oui ça qui fini hier
parce que ça bail qui fini so c'est bateau qui travaille so nous ne pour bypass bail c'est monde ça là so l'année monde ko Lucia qui joindre passe because you ne pour attendre si l'année a fault côté so l'année so c'est quand c'est mon ça là tout seul qui arrive. Si un monde quoi vous avez passe, vous ne pour écrire un email training training @nemo.gov.lc or admin @nemo.gov.lc. They pou send email sa la, nou kay gade, et nou kay repon nou si nou sabay ou. Si ou qualifie pour pass, ou kay joindre une réponse, et nous kay do ça pour faire après ça.
Et puis là, monsieur George, vitement parce que nous étions 1 minute là, moi v'lo qui commission ou kay ni ou quoi, Jean cette ici briser savent parce que chay moun toujours qu'après 20 minutes ça qu'on blague, chay moun quoi moun ka fait trop, qui ça ou quoi, qu'après trop précaution, qui ça ou même kay vle set ici ça vle vini pour 20 minutes et qui ça yo même kay yo ça fait pour aider et assister en ça aller.
Non, ça on veut dire tout le monde a responsabilité pour contrôler 20 minutes ça. 20 minutes pas ça aller
pas pas ça marcher.
Pas ça marcher pas quoi. C'est un monde qui ne peut chailler pour transmettre pour l'autre monde. So vous ne pour faire ça ou ne pour faire pour protéger corps, so les protéger corps ou ça protéger l'autre monde. Vous ne pour protéger corps parce que vous ne passer virus là par famille issue, so vous ne pour protéger eux tout. So vous quoi à ce moment on ne pour ni responsabilité pour ça ou pas ça faire bagay kon normal. So nous aura times qui pas normal. Et nous pouvons faire ça nous pouvons faire party sacrifice pour nous savent nous ka faire ça pour payer pour l'autre. Bah ça on est pour mettre la caillou. Social distancing nous pas ça faire trop monde pas ça ni trop monde dans leur côté. Pas ça ni monde à monde comme ça. On est pour so ça qui fait ce gouvernement point ces mesures ça là. Ouais, ces mesures qui fait un petit discomfort mais c'est nécessaire pour ensure virus là pas faire trop de dommages à cette liste.
OK.
Parce que nous pour faire du bout once and for all.
OK. Eh bien là, monsieur, ou Annington hod monsieur George, Andrew George hod NEMO, et moi que monsieur ou nous ici et puis information nous ka hen hod gouvernement nous ka ba oui. Responsabilité c'est en là. Moi ka vieux répéter ça monsieur George dit qui bien important. 20 minutes pas ka marcher. Il pas ni pas il pas ça marcher, il pas ni pied, il pas ça marcher, il pas ka voler. Ça qui est bien important, c'est pour wete caillou. Si wete caillou, la pas de personne qui a venu autour, la pas de personne raison pour aller dehors là parce que ça nous ja apprendre, ça nous connaît. C'est là venu pour 20 minutes, il a wete en l'air hadou. Si yon moun qui a contracté ni, il estiené, il a wete en l'air hadou. Il a wete en chivou. Soumet la porte bagay en fait, soumet ou ka marcher ou met en trop bois bagay la ka 20 minutes ka wete asui. C'est pour ça il est tellement important pour wete caillou. Bon, moi ça nous là presque nous ka faire télévision, ver ça qui ka aller. Yon madame fait l'opération. Il fait l'opération, whole famille aller ouais. Aller ouais, il même vini primaire. Maman est mort, papa est mort, c'est mort qu'à présent, ma oui, là ka goumé pour la vie. Exemple, nous ne pouvons pas hot ça, c'est là où quoi. Ça ou ka faire, c'est parce que yo dit pas aller pas faire. Juste calculer ça. Ou peut perdre maman, ou peut perdre ou peut-être en bonne santé, pour un jeune monde, rien pas ka mais vers maintenant, il ka attaquer maman, ou grand papa ou un monde. Magadi ça pour faire moun paix, mais ça c'est réalité. Réalité c'est wete caillou, sous wete caillou, vers maintenant pas ça vini outil là et n'importe monde qui veut dire rien là ni internet là ni bagay merci bon Dieu nous ni courant nous ni glo nous ni toute l'autre bagay commission c'est wete en dedans et nous jani kon monsieur George a dit 3 yon ou ça peut téléphone nous courrier là ni NEMO aussi 452380D ou peut courrier yo et puis yo kay ça assisto les vini pour ça ou kay bouizen. Moi gavier voye ba ou c'est Jesse.
Thank you so much for that, Carlton. Right about now, we're overdue for a break. So if you could just give your final words before we head out.
Yes, no, I think Mr. Cook said it well, that we have to take responsibility. We are building for the future. We have to build our resilience as a country. We have to strengthen our laws. We have to do a lot of things. So this is a good litmus test for us. How we deal with this will decide how we deal with other disasters, because there are different forms, but the response to all of them is the same. And we have to ensure that the response to this is robust, and it's structured, and it's meant to deal with the virus. And the fact is, the discomfort is temporary, but if we are lucky, we're going to survive it. And we'll be better off as a country and better off as a people. And we'll build resilience in our businesses, in our lives. And we also always remember to make a family plan. And so that is what it's about, making a family disaster plan, ensuring that you know what to do. And of course, most of all, use the time you have wisely to think about how to prepare. Because we also have the hurricane season coming up too. So take the time that you have, think about it, think about how you yourself are prepared, think about what you need to do to prepare yourself for every disaster. Use the time wisely, but just stay home for now.
That was Mr. Andrew George, the Program Development Officer at the National Emergency Management Organization. Thank you so very much, Mr. George, for sitting in with us. We are overdue for a break. When we come back, we sit down with the Minister for Equity, Social Justice, Local Government and Empowerment, the Honorable Lenard Montoute. Do stay tuned.
It's Power Bike time!
Hey, you need to cover your mouth. Don't you know about the coronavirus?
It's not a joke, it's a serious thing.
True that. What's coronavirus anyway?
The coronavirus is a group of viruses that causes the common cold. In more severe cases, it's like the flu.
Really? So are you saying that this is not a new virus?
No, it isn't new. It's a new strain. That's why some people say novel coronavirus. Yes, look at it like a family who just had a new baby.
I get it now. So how is it spread?
Through the air, like coughing and sneezing, touching objects, surfaces with the virus on it, touching your face, your eyes, your nose, your mouth, before washing your hands with running water and soap.
Sounds like someone has the flu or the cold. Are the symptoms the same?
The symptoms are fever, coughing, sneezing, headaches, just like the flu. In some severe cases, you also have breathing difficulties and chest pains. Some persons also get pneumonia and kidney failure. And as you have heard the news, some people have died.
Wow. So how do I protect myself?
We have always been told to wash our hands with running water and soap. In the event there is no running water and soap, you use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer of at least 70% alcohol. Try your best to avoid touching your eyes, your nose, and your mouth. And in the event you need to sneeze and cough into a tissue, you throw the tissue into a bin. If you do not have tissue and you need to sneeze or cough, you do it into your elbow.
Yes, I heard that. So what medications can we take?
Well, as the virus is new, there is no medication or vaccine that you could really take to prevent it. What we really have to do is to practice infection control measures to protect ourselves.
Hey, people. I need to get a sweat. Let's get moving.
Let's do it, guys.
So, wait, how do I get more information?
Good, I have that number on lockpad. For further information, contact the Bureau of Health Education at 468-5349, 468-5347, or 468-5342.
Let's defy limits! Woohoo! Come on!
Personal risk reduction is important. Germs are everywhere, and you can reduce your risk of infection by practicing some basic infection control measures. Taking the stairs, avoid touching the railing. If taking the elevator, ensure you use hand sanitizer immediately after exiting the elevator. Hand sanitizers with 60% or more alcohol are great to use, so have some readily available on your desk for quick use. Have your own personal bottle to carry with you when away from running water and soap. Germs can spread easily and be anywhere. Be sure to wipe down or disinfect desks, telephones, and keyboards. Washing your hands often will reduce the spread of germs, but you must wash them as recommended. Masks and gloves serve a purpose and provide protection when used in the recommended settings and when used correctly. They are not practical for the office or business place and can lead to the further spread of germs when used badly. Use only if you are coughing and or sneezing or taking care of someone who is ill with flu-like symptoms. For more information, call the Ministry of Health and Wellness at 468-5347, 468-5349, or 468-5350.
What's in the food you're eating? Do you really even know? All the chemicals and hormones used to accelerate their growth. All the artificial flavoring, sweeteners and colors too. We consume and we don't spare a thought for the damage that they'll do. No, think about the children. Think about the children. How will we save them? Chemicals and GMOs are not the solution. Use organic and join.
Excessive agrochemical use, additives, and genetically modified foods are harmful to health and the environment. Join the good food revolution. Grow, buy, and consume organic. A message from Rise St. Lucia and the Ministry of Sustainable Development with funding from the GEF Small Grants Program, UNDP.
The good food revolution.
Welcome back to the live program, the COVID-19 response here in St. Lucia. You are listening to us coming live from the studios of the Government Information Service. If you're just joining, a special welcome to you. If you're just joining us, a special welcome to you. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have in studio the Minister, the Honorable Lenard Montoute, Minister for Equity, Social Justice, Local Government and Empowerment. But before we start our interview with him, we just want to take you over to a news report that we prepared with regard to the ongoing operations at the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, in terms of preparing the relief packages for persons who are in need. Take a look.
Volunteers of the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, are working assiduously around the clock this week to prepare thousands of relief packages for residents of St. Lucia who are in need during the COVID-19 shutdown. Government was forced to take drastic measures after 13 people were diagnosed with the deadly virus within a fortnight and local transmission was established through patient 9. Tuesday evening, when the Prime Minister of St. Lucia, the Honorable Alan Chasney, declared a 24-hour national shutdown for 7 days, not everyone was prepared. NEMO has since sprung into action as part of the shutdown protocols, coordinating an operation to provide food and other essential items to those in need.
What do you see this morning going on? Members of the St. Lucia Cadet Corps and various volunteer groups assisting in packaging the items that we have received. The intention is to get it to the most vulnerable persons as soon as possible. So we have various youth groups and the cadets championing that aspect of it for the morning.
I got a call this morning and that I was one of the volunteers that is selected. So I came here and since then we've been parceling off sugar, rice, flour. We have the St. Lucia Cadet Corps as well as NEMO officials. We have the police here. So it's a lot of activities going on. We understand that we're supposed to be actually preparing at least 10,000 care packages that will be distributed across the island. I don't know if that's the total, but that's what we've been told so far. So everybody is chipping in and I'm really taken aback by the level of volunteerism that's coming through, because we still have volunteers coming out. So I really want to thank the authorities for actually allowing me to give back, but also we want to encourage St. Lucians who are at home. Folks who are out here doing this, we have to do this so that folks who are at home get taken care of. All we are asking is that folks who are at home, they follow all the procedures, social distancing, they also follow the news to get the updates and just remain safe. I know it's easy to criticize, but on the ground here, I'm seeing a massive effort, people coming here to just volunteer their time to ensure that St. Lucians who don't have the requisite supplies do get those supplies. And it's a really beautiful thing knowing that you can actually give back to your country. And I'm really proud doing this.
Health Department officials are also on hand at NEMO's headquarters, passing information obtained from the 311 hotline call center. Natasha Lloyd Felix is the director of the Bureau of Health Education.
So from yesterday, we have been receiving the calls through the 311 hotline that has been established to support relief for persons who require packages from NEMO. We have been actively engaged with NEMO in organizing these packages by filtering the information received through 311 to the Ministry of Health onward to NEMO. So from today, packages are being prepared and it's expected that distribution will commence. We thank persons for supporting us and collaborating, and we know that there was a challenge yesterday as our lines were congested, but that has been since rectified and the flow of information has improved significantly. We are responding and we are still receiving requests from persons who require support. So we ask that you continue to call with the relevant details. That would be your name, your alias, your exact location, which would include a description or a landmark to your home, as well as any information regarding a telephone contact that we can have in the event it's difficult to get you in touch with you directly on the ground.
Relief packages prepared by NEMO will be distributed by the district disaster committees to individuals whose contact information have been given to 311 agents. Reporting from the Office of the Prime Minister, I am Danielle Dubois.
Thank you very much, Daniel, for that news report, an update on what is happening in NEMO. And as you heard from Mr. Andrew George, from the Program Development Officer from NEMO, plans are already underway. They're already undergoing the transportation of the relief packages to persons in the community who are in need right now. We're not able to make purchases yesterday at the mini-marts and the community shops, and persons who are elderly who are in need of packages right now. In studio with us this morning at this juncture is the Minister for Equity, Social Justice, Local Government and Empowerment, the Honorable Lenard Montoute. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you.
Thank you so much for sitting in with us.
Good morning to your viewers.
I can imagine you're very busy out and about.
Well, very much so. Actually, there's a cabinet meeting ongoing right now via Zoom. And of course, there's a lot of activity taking place at the Human Resource Development Center in Grosile with the Local Disaster Preparedness Committee, my constituency council, and a number of volunteers, because we are determined to get supplies out to our people today, being the third day of the shutdown.
Much appreciated. We're going to get into that in just a bit, but to begin, as the overarching, as Minister for Local Government, can you tell us about the coordination that is going into this response mechanism to COVID-19?
Well, to a great extent, the local government agencies are expected to work with the local disaster preparedness committees. For that matter, they have a representative who sits on the committee, and recognizing that, of course, the committee of volunteers is only so big. The council itself has to bring to bear its resources. You know, for example, in this case, with the emergency that we are facing, you have packaging, you have distribution, you have, enforcement of certain, regulations and so on. So the council is playing a big role. I, as parliamentary representative, I have made available the resources of my constituency office as well. And I know when we talk about the parliamentary representative, people are quick to talk about politics and so on. Well, I have no fear or concerns about politics as long as we are not partisan, because politics play a role in every aspect of life. And I'm saying I have a constitutional role and a responsibility. I have to work with whatever agencies and organizations are on the ground to ensure that the needs of my people are fulfilled, and I will go out of my way to work with whosoever it is, to ensure that the needs of my people are met. Having said so, we want to appeal to people. You know, do not, like that, it's a time for us to come together. Partisan political considerations should not be a factor right now. I want to assure them that there are people of all persuasions among the volunteers and in the organizations that are working. And so we will ensure that we distribute according to the needs, according to who deserves, and not according to any other consideration.
On a realistic basis, how has that coordination been going?
Well, what we have done is, first and foremost, the Disaster Preparedness Committee has their list.
Okay.
We have gotten a list from the Social Transformation Officer for the Grosley area. We have gotten a list for the Welfare Officer for the Grosley area. We have people on the Public Assistance list, which will come from the Welfare Officer. We have other vulnerable people and people who we do not normally consider to be vulnerable, but who have become vulnerable as a result of the situation, are calling in. Now, talking about calling in, it would not be news to you that there are serious difficulties with the 311 number and getting to NEMO. Recognizing that, getting the complaints from my constituents, I now was inundated. So what I did, I set up my own hotline. So I have my daughter, my wife, some of the volunteers to give up their numbers. So that I gave out those numbers, and I said to the people, if you need assistance, call those numbers.
All hands on deck.
If you need health assistance, the polyclinic. Farmers who need passes and so on, your extension officers. So two things happen. People are getting more results now, especially for my area, and the 311 number and NEMO's number is less inundated with calls. Because my understanding, I'm not so steeped in the technology, but I'm just repeating what I heard. My understanding is that the numbers were overwhelmed because of the sheer number of people calling, that there were problems. And although some rectification has been done, I've been told, but I want results for my people, and so we are ensuring that when you call, we take your name, your number, your location, and so on, and note what your needs are, and that we will distribute to you. And this distribution ought to start today.
Looking at the COVID-19 impact nationally, it certainly will create a shift. You look at the corona-induced layoffs. We're looking at a shift in persons needing, as you mentioned, persons who will need now because of the corona.
That's right.
Can you speak to the approach from your ministry in dealing and addressing these new dynamics in society?
Okay, first and foremost, we already know of some people who require assistance anyway. People at the various institutions, people on public assistance, vulnerable people who form our list of poor and vulnerable. These people are getting assistance. But having recognized what has happened, our ministry has made representation to ensure that government makes provisions to provide food packages to people. And of course, the cabinet is looking at providing salary assistance to people who have lost an income as a result of the COVID pandemic. And so you would recognize that we're talking about a lot of people, wide cross-section, and we do not have a history of socialism as such. So a lot of the mechanisms are not in place, have not been practiced before. So it's new territory for all of us. There will be some loopholes, there will be, some tightening necessary, but as we go along, we try to make things better and better. But I am concerned about the timing, I have to say. Today is the third day of the shutdown, and many people have not begun to receive, I'm talking first and foremost, food supplies. Okay, there are some people who have problems with medication. We have to address that immediately. And if all of us play our small part, I think, we can go a long way in supporting the agencies that are responsible for the various services. For example, NEMO. I recognized yesterday that food packages would not reach my constituency yesterday. I called, found out what was going on. I recognized that NEMO is doing packaging for the entire country. You're talking about thousands and thousands of packaging. They get bags of flour, rice, and sugar by 100 pounds, and they have to package it into 2 pounds and so on. That is tedious. That takes a lot of time. Timing is everything. I know that while all of this is going on, the people who are hungry, who do not have supplies, do not want to hear any story. They just want food. So what I did, got in contact with my council, with my committee, disaster committee, my constituency office, we started to call on people who were into volunteer. We got a number of volunteers, and I must compliment those people under the present circumstances to be willing to come out. Most of them said to me, you must give me a mask, you must give me gloves, you must whatever, and social distancing. Social distancing we can effect because we have the theater at the Grocery Human Resource Center, thank God for that. Yeah. So we have people spread out inside of there. And what we said to NEMO is send us the 100-pound bag of the quota for Grocery, we will bag it. Wow. We even sent some people to NEMO as volunteers because there are other things like pasta, oil, and all everything that has to be bagged. So we sent people to assist them. So in so doing, we are expediting our distribution and relieving pressure of NEMO. Now, I'm not saying every constituency is that well organized, but what NEMO should be doing is find out where organization exists and recruit those people to assist. It's a collaborative effort. Every hand must be on board. We all must take responsibility. And I just want to know that by midday today, that distribution begins in Grosley. I have an army at the HRDC right now working. I have trucks standing by for distribution. I have people at NEMO helping with the packaging. And so, you know, these are the things that we're doing. And I have my hotline, so to speak, where people are taking calls, to find out who are the people. Right now, I mean, I just came from another interview at HTS. I am following cabinet by Zoom. And so when I'm inundated with calls, so what I do, I just divert those calls to my people who are taking the calls, and they take the notes, they take all the information, and so on. I'm personally not going to be involved in distribution for obvious reasons. But I am a little concerned that even the numbers that NEMO is providing for my constituency is woefully inadequate. So I'm now working on doing what I can from my end to see if I can augment what they are giving. I say so because I can only do so much as an individual. I say so for those who are from my constituency who are hearing my voice right now. We can do well with whatever assistance you can provide. And we don't necessarily need any money right now, but supplies. If you can provide us with supplies, food supplies first and foremost. Secondly, sanitary supplies like sanitizers, like disinfectant, soap, and things like that. If we can get those things, we'd be very happy to distribute it. Yes.
You mentioned that the NEMO numbers for your constituency were woefully inadequate. Can you give us an understanding to the volume of relief that is needed right now for persons under this national shutdown in your constituency? Well,
NEMO has a number of 1,000. Initially, I'm looking at 2,005. I'm hoping that as we gradually open up the shops and people can get that, those numbers will decrease. But I just want to point out that when the shutdown was announced, it was in effect an immediate shutdown because it was announced during a curfew that ended at the time the shutdown started, 5 in the morning. So there are a number of people who didn't expect it, and even some people who anticipated it, who figured that it was coming, were not able. Think of workers who get paid monthly. At the time the announcement was made, I mean, I used to be a public servant, and I mean, without telling you too much of my business, I knew the pay date every month. And I used to be waiting and watching for that day, because before that day arrived, I would be broke. So if you had asked me at that time to go out and do any shopping, I would not have the resources. And I can tell you there are many of us who live hand to mouth who would not be in a position, even if the shops were open. There are other people who can afford, but have pre-existing conditions, who have concerns about going out in crowds. Okay, if someone is asthmatic or they have other health issues, they will not go and line up among people, and already the people are not observing the distancing strictly in those lines and so on. They will be afraid to go there. Elderly people who can probably still do something for themselves, recognizing they're more susceptible than the average population, may be afraid to go. So these are people who immediately found themselves in problems. There are people who are unemployed, who do not have a salary. They too would be in problem because these are people who would not have the means to stock up. And so we have to provide for those people. I regret to say that, okay, this is a learning experience for us. Our generation has not experienced anything like this before. We have had 1 or 2 little storms and hurricanes. In a couple of days, everything was fine. But this is different. And so it's a learning curve for everyone. And I'm hoping as we go along, we'll fine-tune our procedures, put better mechanisms in place to make life easier. But I am adamant that on the 3rd day, I think we're way past when this delivery should be made. So I insist that deliveries have to be made in Grosley, and whatever it is it takes and whatever it is we have to do, we're going to ensure that it is done.
The private sector, Grosley is the tourism hub of the island. Can you just give us some insight as to the engagement that you've had with the private sector so far?
Well, the private sector is assisting, but do not forget everyone is hard hit. Our hotels are all closed and do not know when their revenue stream will be resuming. But we have assistance from quite a number of them. I mean, quite apart from those that are used for quarantine areas. For example, we have Sandals that is providing meals to the police, to the fire service, and I'm trying to get them to consider the polyclinic as well. Okay, they are doing other things, I mean, in different ways. Massey Store, you know, are the ones providing most of the supplies. Of course, not free of charge, but in some cases at a discounted price, because I have personally asked to augment my quantity. I have asked for them to provide us with some supplies, and you know, we're getting some discounts from them. There are individuals who are in business who have offered $1,000, you know, whatever, what have you. So contributions are coming, and we can do with all the contributions that we can get. And so I must say, but at the same time, I'm mindful that a lot of our private sector, corporate people are under a lot of stress at this time. Some of them are already helping by trying to continue to provide a salary to their workers, or even if it's a reduced salary, do rotations, do things like that while they are not in production. And so, you know, we have to be reasonable and understanding, but at the same time, we have to recognize that it is a time when all of us as a nation have to make some kind of sacrifice. Because even the salary replacement that government is talking about, it will not be a salary replacement. I think they use the wrong words. Some income support that we'll be providing. If your salary is $5,000, do not expect government going to give $5,000. But we'll give you a little something, at least that you can meet your daily needs and so on. We have already spoken to financial institutions to waive payments, or defer payments rather than waive. Let me use the right word, defer payments. We have asked Lucia and Wasco to come in and to be understanding, and we are getting cooperation so far. So that all of those measures will go a long way in easing the burden on our people to a great extent. And I might say we are dealing with a population that is not used to crises, that is not accustomed to making major sacrifices, and so they will be harder hit than normal.
And speaking of that, mobilization efforts are underway. Can you speak on the level of compliance in your constituency, the constituents staying indoors, maintaining social distancing?
Unfortunately, when the police cite areas of non-compliance grossly surfaces, I want to appeal to my people. It is for you. It is for your family. It is for your friends. It is for the community. You are putting yourself at risk. You're putting your family at risk, because even if they don't do what you do, when you go home, you bring what you get to them. You're putting other people in the community at risk. You're putting the nation at risk. So if, please, you can comply. If you're asked to remain at home, unless you have to be out and you have the legitimacy and the authority to be out, remain at home. You're asked to practice social distancing, please do so. You are asked to avoid large gatherings of beyond a certain number, please recognize that. And unfortunately, Grosley was mentioned as one of the areas where people are practicing in bringing people in through the back door while our borders are closed. I'm asking those people to please do not do that. Grosley has a close affinity and affiliation with Martinique. Martinicans take the boat and they come across to Grosley if we just have a birthday party. We are friends with them, we welcome that and so on, but this is a crisis that we all understand, and they understand the situation as well. In Martinique, it is far more prevalent than it is in St. Lucia. We do not want the spread of this disease, and we are preaching to avoid transmission, to avoid the spread, because our health system will be overwhelmed. And even people who would normally be able to get treatment and be healed would die because the facilities would not be available to provide that treatment. So forget about vulnerable people who have pre-existing conditions and who have weak immunity. Even normal people who develop complications, who if they get treatment would survive, would normally end up dying because our health system is overwhelmed. So people, please, we do not know who will get it, will not get it, but let's minimize the threat, let's minimize the risk, let's minimize the spread of this disease for our own good, because that will determine how we come out of it and how fast we come out of it.
The opportunity yesterday for persons to head on out to the community shops and the mini-marts. Can you speak about your constituencies?
Yes. One of the things I observed, quite apart from the choice words that some of them had for me, because of the fact that supplies were scarce and they had to go through a lot of inconvenience. And I didn't take it personal. I understand the anger. I understand, the disgust that some people are experiencing. Well, I noticed when I went around that the social distancing was not being practiced. People were on lines literally on one on top of the other. Another thing is people use that opportunity to just go liming around the place. So, let us be a little more disciplined, And I would hate to think that we have to take punitive measures to make people comply. Let us understand that it is for our own good, and we're doing ourselves and our families a service when we comply to the regulations and observe the protocols that are in place. So people, please, let's when Monday the shops are open, if you don't have need to go out, do not go. They have asked that one person per family go to those shops. That should be done. Now, I look around sometimes. I don't have much time to peruse social media these days, but what I've been told is that in Antigua, to minimize the number of people that are out at once, they have more regular opening, but they ask a certain group to go out at a time. For example, people whose surname are from A to D go out today, and so on. So that is another form of control that can reduce the length of the lines and so on. Someone has made a suggestion that shop owners, and maybe we can look at the possibility of putting markings to make people more mindful. So if it's 6 feet we have to stay, we have a marking, so every 6 feet there's someone standing and so on. That probably will help and make people more conscious. If that can be done, I think it's a good measure. But whatever it is we have to do to ensure that we minimize the risk and the major threat that this disease is posing to us. Already it has done untold damage in terms of we have 13 people positive already. Our economy has gone through a real battering as a result, and there's no telling when that recovery will come, because the recovery depends on what happens in the rest of the world as well. So people, for our own good, if you want to return to work, our economy to, but back on feet and so on, understand. I know that there's heavy demand on government, and government has a responsibility and a role to play. But remember too that government is also under stress. Government revenue has been seriously diminished, close to zero. I mean, there's no tourists, there's hardly any import of products taking place and so on. Many people are out of job. These are the means through which government generated revenue. But at the same time, we will do whatever it takes, whatever we could do to ensure that we minimize the impact of this pandemic on our population.
I want to go back to your ministry's role in all of this.
Yes.
The home care program,
Yes.
SSDF. Can you
Yes.
just give us an update on that right now?
Right. We have over 700 individuals who are getting the home care program. But now what we have done, there are many people who couldn't care for the elderly and sick because they had to work. Now some of those people are at home, so they have to take on that responsibility of caring for those people. But we have over 200 who have no one to care for them. We have ensured that our home caregivers go out and provide care to them. Of course, trying to observe the protocols as much as possible. These people will be provided transport. They will observe social distancing as much as possible, wear protective gear, and so on. Because remember, these same people that they are caring for most of the time are sick and elderly and are vulnerable. We don't want to bring the disease to them. And so, they would be wearing protective gear and so on. So that service continues because we recognize the need for it. These people will not be able to survive any week or 2 weeks of shutdown. And these people, some of whom have medical conditions, have wounds that have to be dressed and medication that they have to take on a daily basis and so on. We have the people who want public assistance. These people have to be cared for. And so we ensure that when, our disaster committees have these people on their list of people who have to get packages. All right, and the ministry is now looking at ways of augmenting the amount that is given to them, because at this time it can become a little more challenging for them. And we are getting some assistance from international agencies like the World Bank and so on, that we're looking to divert some resources from World Food Program and so on to those kinds of programs. We are providing psychosocial support from our ministry, and that is headed by the Director of Human Services, Ms. Poyet, and there are a number of counselors that are available, because I mentioned earlier that we are not, our generation is not used to crises of that nature. I mean, do not take it for granted that many of us know what it is to remain indoors for that length of time. There are many people who are already experiencing psychological issues as a result of being locked down. And it's a reality, we have to recognize it. There are people who are going through a lot of stress because of loss of job and do not have means and supplies and so on. So we're providing that support to them. We're also providing psychosocial support to the general public by the activation of the National Stress Management Committee. And so, you know, they have their team and so on, and there are numbers that you can call, and they will provide that service. Another service that we provide is income support through government. It has not been rolled out as yet, but it is designed and being finalized by Cabinet right now. And we are hoping that we're going to look at the people, apart from people on public assistance program, we're going to look at people with the children with disability and foster care children and all of those people. These are all considered to be vulnerable. We are looking at vulnerable households. Now, when you talk about vulnerable households, the welfare department has a list of a number of people who I need. The St. Lucia Social Development Fund, SSDF, also have a program called Coup de Main Saint-Lucie, where they have a number of families that are considered to be vulnerable. We are taking into consideration those people and the assistance that they need. You know, and we have a program that is scheduled to commence by mid-April or towards the end of April, and we are getting US $100,000, and that is earmarked from a donor agency to assist those people. Okay, and when I said a donor agency, I think it's coming from the World Food Program, and so we are looking to see if we can ask them to augment that amount to even increase it because of the greater demand that exists right now. We well, when it comes to food security, we're looking at the vulnerable households. We are looking at a population that a lot of people ignore, but there is that population in St. Lucia of persons living with HIV, those clients. These people are stigmatized, these people do not get jobs, but these people have to be on constant medication, and these people have to eat healthy enough for them to survive. And so they are considered. And of course, the foster care children, the Coup de Main Saint-Lucie people, and the unemployed as well are being considered in that program. Another group that is usually forgotten is the homeless. We have taken into account the plight of the homeless. Now, you call for a shutdown. A shutdown says that there ought to be nobody on the streets. But where are the homeless? They are on the streets. So we have to cater for them to get them off the streets. So what my ministry did was to find out how many homeless people are in each of the communities. For example, Castries, you have about 30 and so on, and provisions had to be made to house them. So they are on the street, although I noticed in my constituency, I still saw one out. But you know, sometimes some people always fall through the cracks. I have made a report of that so that he too can be catered for, so that, you know, because quite apart from taking them off the streets, meals will be provided for them and, you know, whatever medication and so on that they need and so on. So there's a lot that we are doing. We are providing information to NEMO. And, you know, we are helping with ensuring that we provide the numbers as well. Now, when I talk about numbers, we have to think about people in residential institutions. Residential institutions, a lot of people, we're not mindful of those things. There's Adelaide Home, there's Holy Family Children's Home, there's Marian Home, St. Lucy's Home, Cornerstone Humanitarian Society, Villa St. Joseph, Vieux-Fort Children's Home, New Beginning Transit Home, Comfort Bay for Seniors, Boys Training Center. These are all institutions that receive some kind of assistance from our ministry, and at this time we are particularly have to take them into consideration. You have people on public assistance, and if I can just give the country, the nation a little indication, in Babono you have 139, Canries 59, Castries 534, Sozel 253, Denry 200, Grosile 108, Labri 253, Micoud 300, Susi Millet Area 153, Soufre 234, Vieux-Fort 357, giving you a grand total of 2,669 people who are on public assistance. What we have done is recognizing that while these people are established as the normal population for public assistance, we know that because of the current situation, there are some people who ought to be on public assistance right now. So we have increased the number by 1,000. I mean, I'm going by what the people who are on the ground suggest. My suspicion honestly is that it may be more. We may need to increase it by more. And I won't be surprised if they soon come back and say that they need more. Okay? And we have don't forget, we have a waiting list. Because when I talk about 1,000 additional persons, we already have a waiting list of 386 people who have made application to be on that list. But we go by annual budget. We cannot include them this year. We have to wait for the next budget. But these people are there waiting. So that's already another population that have to be cared for. Children in foster care. We have 183 children in foster care throughout the island in different constituencies. And I have a breakdown of each constituency there, which I don't want to burden anybody.